Tailwind CSS or vanilla CSS. Today we're going to put both to the test. We're going to see which is faster to code with, what gives a better experience, what produces a smaller file size, which is the best basically. So I'm going to be coding the same website twice, and yeah, basically we're going to try to figure this out. So my name's Robbie. You're watching Coding with Robbie. I make videos on coding basically, as the name would suggest. And yeah, basically I was browsing this inspiration website right here, and I was looking for something easy that I could code twice. And the one I landed on is, where is it? This guy right here, empathy.com. So here's what I'll be recoding today. And yeah, I just finished the CSS side of the video, and it was taking way longer than expected. So I'm just going to code for an hour on each side and see where we get. So make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we're going to get into it right now. Let's go! Alright, so here's what I'll be starting out with. I got the fonts downloaded right here, and I got all the images in this folder. And then I just have an index.html with nothing in it, and an empty style sheet. So I'm going to code right now. Here we go. Alright, so I just finished my hour of CSS coding. Here's where we got. We got down to this section right here. And next up is Tailwind. So here's what I'll be starting with right here. We have an index.html file that just links up a style sheet. We got all the same fonts and images. And then I got package.json, and it's just going to watch files for changes and then rebuild it when there is one. Got my Tailwind config file right here. And then yeah, here's the input CSS, and here's the output. So one thing with Tailwind is I'm not going to be doing, I guess you'd call them custom classes or whatever, where you do stuff like this. Because at this point, you're kind of just writing CSS, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. So if you disagree, that's fine, but that's how I'm going to be doing it. So yeah, I'm going to do Tailwind right now, and I'll see you in a little bit. So I just finished my hour of Tailwind coding. I'm now going to take a little break, kind of go over everything and form some opinions, and get some data for you guys. So my clothes might change or whatever if it ends up being tomorrow. But yeah, let's go over that right now. Alright, and we're back. It's been about 24 hours. I've been thinking about it and going through my code and forming some thoughts. And yeah, I'm going to share that with you right now. So let's take a look at both of the sites. So right here I got the CSS version, and it's pretty good. I made a mistake on this section. I didn't realize that these were sized differently, so I should have fixed that. And yeah, we got down to right here. So I pretty much finished the slide, but I didn't get anything below there. And let me show you mobile. So if we shrink this down, I did a little, I guess, mobile navigation, but it's non-functional, just visual. And then yeah, pretty much everything just stacks. The mobile looks pretty good. And yeah, I got the Tailwind side pulled up right here. So here's the Tailwind side. So it looks pretty similar. Some of the paddings and stuff are different. I didn't get too precise with it, but I think this is pretty close. It doesn't have that error with the blocks. And then, yeah, I got a lot further. So I finished this section down here, and I started the next section. So I was definitely able to get a little more done with Tailwind. But one thing to note is that I did Tailwind second, so I had a lot of ideas in my head from doing the CSS side. But yeah, definitely got further, and let me show you mobile. Same thing, same kind of menu, and then everything stacks. And yeah, I got the original site pulled up right here. So it's probably, let's see. Say the Tailwind side is probably a little closer. Just some stuff got rounded out with the Tailwind side. So I didn't add like a custom max width. I didn't add certain font sizes. But yeah, let's take a look at the code. So let me pull up my VS Code. Where is it? Right here. So I got both folders open right here. And here's the Tailwind, or we'll start with CSS. Here's the CSS HTML. And yeah, you can tell it's super readable and clean. And I kind of just broke it up by section. And everything pretty much has one class. I didn't get too crazy with utility classes. But yeah, here's the code, HTML for that. And now let's take a look at the Tailwind side. So, I mean, you can kind of tell it's a lot less readable. I definitely give the one up to the CSS version. And yeah, when I was coding this, it gets annoying, at least with static HTML, when you have multiple elements using the same class. Because say I wanted to edit this, I was having to do multiple cursors or change all occurrences. It just gets kind of annoying and messy. And then when I got to this section, there was a point where I had the divs like mixed up and my nesting was broken. And I kind of had to go through and fix that. It was kind of hard to tell what's what. See, here's those 3 blocks. And same kind of thing, when I had to edit these, it would be annoying if I had to go back and change it for all 3. And let's see, here's the rest of it. So overall, I would say it's a little less readable, and it's not too bad when you're coding it the first time. But say I had to go back in 3 months and make edits to the site, it's going to be very annoying to figure out what's what and trying to find my way around it. So I prefer the CSS version personally, but it's up to you. And then let's take a look at the CSS version's CSS. Go to the top. Here's how that looks. I got some variables, the custom fonts, and then I kind of just reset everything. And then I didn't do a bunch of utility classes. I just have a with utility class and then some button stuff. And then yeah, everything else is just section by section. So we got the announcement bar right here. Here's the header section. And then I just did one breakpoint at 960. And then we got that top section. And yeah, overall it's just normal CSS. And yeah, here's the outputted Tailwind stuff, but that doesn't really matter. But here's what it outputs. So I'll just kind of scroll through it, but what it looks like. And yeah, so let's talk about the file sizes and the output. So what I did is I deleted the extra stuff that I did on the Tailwind side, and then I minified all the files. And here's the sizes I got for everything. So we'll start with CSS. For the CSS, it was 4.35 kilobytes. The HTML was 2.99. And the total size was 7.34. And then for the Tailwind side, so right out the gate, before you even write any classes or anything, Tailwind's going to start you out with about, let's see, where is it? 4.8 KB of just variables and their starter stuff. And then by the time I finished, the CSS was 11.6 KB, the HTML was 5.05, and the total site size was 16.65 KB. So I did the math, and that's 226% more. But one thing you got to note is that I did half a web page. So say I did a full 10-page website or something, that number is just going to shrink and shrink because eventually Tailwind doesn't have to add any more utility classes. You have everything. So I think at some point those numbers would pretty much be the same. And when you look at the size of a whole website, so I did some research, and apparently the average size of a website is 2000 KB, which I thought it was going to be more like 5,000 or 10,000, but that's what it said online. So really 16 kilobytes is a tiny little fraction. It doesn't make a difference what you use. So I'm not really going to factor in the size difference. I don't think that matters. And then, yeah, so overall, I'd say with Tailwind, you're getting speed of development, but you're giving up readability. And yeah, I was coding a design. So if I was just building a site, just with no design and kind of just going with what Tailwind gives you, they give you some great starter colors and sizes. It's hard to make something that's going to look bad. So I think Tailwind is great for that. And yeah, personally, I prefer just normal vanilla CSS, but I've had to do a lot of sites where I have to use Tailwind, and it's not a big deal to me. I'm fine using Tailwind if I got to use Tailwind. But for me, I just think it's more readable, and when you go back and edit it, it's a lot easier. And yeah, it's kind of annoying when you start doing custom sizes and custom colors, and you got to do a lot of configuration and all that. But yeah, I'd say Tailwind is just light years ahead of something like Bootstrap. Bootstrap was kind of the popular, I guess, framework before Tailwind came out, and it is just so much better. You can tell that Tailwind's made for CSS developers, and Bootstrap's made for kind of people who maybe don't know a lot of CSS. So I like Tailwind. I'm just a CSS guy myself, and yeah, I would say use whatever you want. If you like Tailwind, use Tailwind. If you like Sass, use Sass. It's really up to you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment, let me know you're there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.